And welcome while we read about one of the earliest women to really shift the course and make a huge difference in American history. This is Abigail Adams, and she is the second First Lady of America. So the First Lady would have been Martha Washington, wife of George Washington. And Abigail Adams was wife to John Adams, the second President of America. She was born November 22nd, 1744, and she died October 28th, 1818. Abigail Adams is one of only two women to have been both wife and mother to two U.S. presidents, the other being Barbara Bush in the 1990s. This is very important. She is most famous for her early advocacy or support of several divisive causes, including women's rights, female education, and the abolition of slavery. Her grandfather, John Quincy, was an active participant in the colonial government and served as Speaker of the Massachusetts Assembly for 40 years, and his career greatly influenced Abigail. A young lawyer named John Adams met 17-year-old Abigail and they fell in love in 1762. After a long engagement, her parents insisted on, they married on October 24th, 1764, when Abigail was 19 and John Adams was 28. In 1774, as tensions grew between the 13 colonies and Great Britain, John Adams headed to Philadelphia. He left for Philadelphia and the First Continental Congress. He and Abigail began writing regularly to each other during this period, creating a large and historic correspondence. The word correspondence is when two people write letters to each other, and all those letters combined are known as a correspondence. During the Second Continental Congress, as John Adams and fellow delegates debated the question of declaring independence, Abigail famously wrote to her husband on March 31st, 1776. This is very famous, and this is what she wrote. She said, and by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation. Her husband replied jokingly to her appeal, expressing fear of the despotism of the petticoat. Abigail pushed back, showing that she was serious about the implications that liberty from the British had for the status of women in a future republic. She also vigorously supported education for women, writing to John in 1778 that you need not be told how much female education is neglected, nor how fashionable it has been to ridicule female learning. In retirement, Abigail maintained many correspondences, including a renewed communication with Thomas Jefferson. She died at her home in Quincy, Massachusetts in October of 1818 at the age of 73 from typhoid fever. She did not live to see her son, John Quincy Adams, become the sixth President of the United States. Hopefully, this has been helpful and hopefully, you're doing really well.